So here I am going live once again. How's everybody doing? And we're gonna talk some boxing. I just We're gonna talk about Errol Spence versus Sean Porter. Now, if anybody knows the date for this fight, that is supposed to take place, let me know because I don't see any date. I don't think it is. But we're just gonna talk about it really quickly because everybody's talking about Keith Thurman, Manny Pacquiao because that's happening next week in a couple of days' time. And also some upcoming fights that are supposed to happen. We'll talk a little bit about those. We'll also talk about the Fighter of the Year that ESPN gave out, and some other people who should have at least been listed there. And I'm going to tell you some really remarkable people should have been listed there. At least one of them I know of. I think Phantom Boxing talked about, oh no, it's Dante's Boxing Nation. I think he talked a little bit about another deserving person who should have gotten Fighter of the Year. But of course, it's sad, but I don't think they did think about that guy. All right, so let's start off first of all talking about Keith Thurman versus Manny Pacquiao, which is a heated discussion. Which Get Some Smoke was talking, and I think he had a altercation with the Boxing Jedi. I don't understand why though the Boxing Jedi is so abrasive at times. He's very abrasive. I think he kind of starts stuff, and then when somebody actually and he starts to be like really ignorant. And around me, I could get more ignorant than you, and I could really make you look stupid. They muted me the last time because I wasn't going back down. And guys like the Boxing Jedi, they all talk. I wonder if we put on some gloves and we get in a ring. I wonder how he fares against someone like myself. Now I don't know how big he is. I don't know how big he is. He got a big mouth, but I don't know how big he is. You know what I'm saying? And we just throw some hands. Let's see what happens. You know what I'm saying? I'm a super welterweight. So if he's, a super welterweight, if he's smaller than me, well, I just hope he has some skill. I'm a big dude. 5'10", weigh about 175 pounds, but I got to get down to 154. 155, 156, somewhere about there. And then, of course, I can balloon back up to 160 something. But I'm really a 175 pounder, walk around. So it'd be nice to, because a lot of people think that because of how you talk or how you conduct yourself, that's how you fight. That's not necessarily the case. A guy might talk weak, but dude, you got a small little voice and stuff, and you think you a little girl. And then when that motherfucker start to fight, then y'all realize what he really is about. Andy Ruiz is a perfect example of that. He looked like he's just a nice little kid, but motherfucker can fight, So don't get it twisted. You see somebody talking a certain way, it don't mean that they can't fight. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot to this boxing game. It's okay to be, yelling and bowling and screaming when you're sitting down in your chair, or you in your car, you're in comfy space. But it's a little bit different when you're starting to train, when you're really starting to put in the work, when you're really starting to box. It's a little different. And to be honest with you, when you start boxing and stuff, you actually have a much more positive vibe. I think the people who have more vitriol is because they got problems in their life, and their life ain't going that great, and they look into boxing to sort of sort out things. And, here's what it is. So anyway, talking about this. So a lot of attention has been paid to Keith Thurman and Manny Pacquiao, and rightfully so. Their fight is coming up. Of course, there's some other fights in between. Manny Pacquiao looks fantastic. I know what his boxing strategy is going to be. He's going to be trying to go the weak side to Keith Thurman. He's going to try and circle Keith Thurman, do exactly what he was doing with Oscar De La Hoya, feint certain shots, come up with certain shots. But what Manny Pacquiao needs to understand is Oscar De La Hoya was more of a stationary target. He was also weight drained. So he should bear that in mind. Keith Thurman will be engaging with him in the pocket at times. And at other times, Keith Thurman will keep him at bay with his jab and with his movement. And Keith Thurman's an interesting cat. He's not just going to stand in front of you. Keith Thurman also cuts angles. Now, yes, I agree with Manny Pacquiao's court that Keith Thurman is slower than Adrian Broner in hand speed, not in foot speed now. In foot speed, Adrian Broner is explosive, he's quick, but he's not really, his foot speed's not that great. What I mean by that is, He's got explosive. He's quick on his feet when he's moving around. When he's sitting in the center of the ring and flat-footed, he's not quick on his feet. Okay, you can catch him because he's not going to move his feet. He's going to move his upper body. So Keith Thurman's different. Keith Thurman will move his feet. Now Keith Thurman's more like Willie Pep. So I'm trying to explain to get that smoke. There's things to get that smoke. I realize he's kind of knowledgeable on boxing, but there's things he just don't understand about boxing, and it's all good. I mean, hopefully we can chop it up tonight sometime, and I'll explain to him what I'm talking about, because sometimes I'm very specific about what I'm saying, and sometimes he just don't get it. He don't understand what I'm saying, you know, because he was talking about, again, the 1-2 by Sergey Kovalev. The 1-2, that is the jab followed up by the lead right, by powerful right hand. And yes, you may miss your target, but that doesn't mean you don't have a gauge of your target, the range and so on. But there's certain things that people don't understand. To be able to get a 1-2 to hit an opponent, the opponent actually has to play into your hand. For instance, what Andrew Tabiti did, where he basically snapped back from the jab and he tried to counter over the jab, but he tried to counter strong side. So he tried to counter on the inside of the jab, and that's why he got caught with the 2. Okay? It's the same thing with Andre Ward. He snapped back, and then he tried to counter over with his right hook, and Sergey Kovalev came straight down the center, and he caught him because the jab might miss, but the jab is a gauge. Now, if you go on the outside of the jab and you pivot outside of the jab, and then you land your right, the guy can't counterpunch you. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I'm actually going to demonstrate this. And that's when you slip to the outside of a jab, you actually protect yourself. When you slip to the inside of a jab, or you slip right here, you snap back right here, and then you come to the inside of the jab, you can get tagged, right? Floyd Mayweather got that with Marcos Maidana, that 1-2 that you're talking about. So I'm gonna try and demonstrate that. This out of the way, so you can see me, right? So here I am. I'm in orthodox stance. All right. I want to show you in the orthodox stance, because if I'm in the southpaw stance, mightn't quite work, okay? You mightn't understand. You got to use mirror image and all that shit. Now, I'm not really up down stance. So I'm going to demonstrate it, okay? So here I am in the southpaw stance. It's basic southpaw stance. I protect myself here, right? I catch the shot here. So hunt, right? This is a shell defense, right? Doesn't really matter. I could be in this defense. I could have the high guard defense. It don't matter, right? The point is, guy throws a jab at me here, right? If I slip, if I just come back here and I go to the inside of the jab, I can get tagged with the lead right, especially if he's coming with a 1-2 like that, right? But if I slip to the outside of the jab, pivot this way, and then leave my lead right or hook to the body, or even jab him, okay? He cannot go across his jab completely and turn all that way because I cut an angle on it. You see? Even when I'm pull countering, okay? Floyd pull counters, right? I snap back from the jab, and I'm about to counter, right? I'm going to pull counter. I'm going to come this way. If I come here and I come this way, all right? Or if I pull, because Floyd might pull this way, might pull this way, right? And then come back this way. Now I can get still nailed with the right, but if once I'm kind of doing it on a pivot, or I go to the outside of it, it's a lot harder. So if the guy throws a jab and I go to the outside of the jab, it depends again on the angle of my body. I want you to see what I'm saying. So if I go to the outside of the jab, he throws the jab, and I go to the outside of that jab, kind of on a pivot here, and I come back in, I'm less likely to get caught with the lead right. Now Canelo is so tricky because he uses that upper body movement like this, okay? Because he does that, he can do many different things, okay? He can roll the jab, okay? He can catch the jab, all right? He can pivot on the jab. You know, there's many different things he can do. And most of the time, Canelo wants to really attack the body. He wants to go to the body with the left hook. He wants to go to the body with the right hook. So what Canelo might do is slip the jab, run in this way. He might slip the jab, run in this way to land a body punch. You see? Because Canelo slips the jab both ways. But on top of that, he may hit you with a little swivel. So you trying to throw your jab, and he gonna snap back. Andy Ruiz does this too.
Andy Ruiz will feint as if he's gonna come in on you. Because Canelo does the same thing. He's gonna feint as if he's coming in. Feint as if he's not stepping in at all. And he induces you to throw the jab. You throw the jab, but he's creeping in on you, by the way, on an angle. Okay? He's creeping in. But as he's creeping in, he can always snap back at any point. And then he will feint you first. I have no idea why my stream was interrupted, but here I am back again. So he's creeping in. You can't see my footwork, unfortunately. So you don't know that I'm actually creeping in on you. I might look like I'm in the same place, but my foot is somewhere else, okay? So I'm still creeping in on you. Why? Because when I'm ready to do the jab to the pit, I'm going to go like this and hook. And I'm right up on you. But you didn't know I was right up on you. I might look like I'm out here, but I'm not. My foot's doing something. You might see it by my height dropping. So that when I throw, I'm right up on you. I don't have to leap in. I'm right here. And I can get back out there if I want to, right? These are all little tricks in the game with boxing, all right? So I was just trying to explain to you what Canelo does, some of the things he does. He does many things. And one of them is on the swivel. He uses the swivel. He'd be right inside of the pocket, but he's swiveling all the time, so it's hard to just track him with your jab and catch him. All right, he's moving that head, he's moving that upper body all the time. And he also, when he's ready, he pivots with it. He pivots on the swivel. You can't catch him like that. You can't catch a guy pivoting on the swivel. You can't catch a moving target. That's hard. You ain't gonna get no 1-2. Understand? And so, especially guys that do the 1-2. If you were doing a 1-2-3 or 1-2-3-4-5 like Marcos Maidana, you might catch something. You know, at least you had to block something. But if you're not throwing a combination on Canelo, or, you know, a mixed up combination, you're less likely to hit him. He's slick. And with these kinds of fighters, slick good fighters. Andre Ward made a mistake, like I said, to go to the inside of the shot. Floyd did it too, where Marcos Maidana induced him. So what do you do when you want to counterpunch a guy, okay? You want to counterpunch a guy that's throwing a jab and may follow up with a lead right. You duck under. So if I'm doing a pull counter and I counter, okay, I'm on the counter, I got to go under this way, I got to go under this way, or I'm going to counter this way. I'm going to counter overhand. I'm an overhand counter, and then I can either swivel this way out or I can swivel this way out. I can roll under this way out. Either way, after I throw that punch, it must be low to high. I'm going to throw the punch low to high. My head is therefore moving down to the side, and I'm going to swivel it. I'm going to keep it as a rolling target. I'm going to swivel it out of the way. If I'm moving target, it's less likely to hit me than if I'm just going and dipping. If I'm just dipping. See what I'm saying? So, anyhow you take it, you got to swivel and pivot to get out of the way of the shot. So that kind of stuff, Andre Ward made a mistake of falling for the trap where he decided, oh, I'm gonna snap back from the jab. So the jab, I pulled back. I'm about to counter. I come with my hook counter, and Sergey Kovalev came with the 2. Boom. All right. You know who else got hit like that? Carl Frampton, when he was fighting against that Mexican guy. I can't remember what his name is, and he dropped him. Right. It's the same thing. It's not just, the pull counter is not just snap back and pull. It's not just pull and then counter. It's pull, counter, and dip, and roll, roll under. It's a fluid motion, you know, and they didn't complete the motion, so they get hit. Or when you're throwing that lead right, okay, when you pull and you're throwing the lead right, you're not going to be on your lead foot. Sometimes they want to put so much effort, they're going to be on the lead foot. You just get tagged, and that's it. You out cold. You got to be in balance. So if you have to hold up the shot, you pull up on the shot, right? So it's just that you can also counter and then roll and then roll in and smother. So you roll your head's down, but your head's always down when you're throwing completing the shot, and you slide in and you clinch. Okay. So Andre Ward he made that mistake, kept the chin up too when he was throwing that hook. They caught him nice and flush. Boom. You're supposed to keep that head down. Your head's supposed to be down when you're throwing the shot. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So they catch you on the top of the head, which is not as bad as if they catch you on your chin. Your chin's exposed. You're going to get it. You're going to get it. And Floyd got flush in the face, flush in the mouth. Because Marcus McDonald, he teed off from low to high, so he caught him up high. I'm surprised Floyd didn't get knocked out. He's tough. So the point being that, you know, he was arguing that Sergey Kovalev got that 1-2. Canelo's, that they used to handling the 1-2. The 1-2 is not a weapon that's going to work against a guy like Canelo. It's not going to even work against Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs got caught because of his mistake when he was switch hitting against Gennady Golovkin. And it was more of a balance shot because he tripped over Gennady Golovkin's foot. But basically, he did lose some of his, not just his balance, but his strength in his legs that caused him to fall over. But basically, what he did was he went from orthodox, and as he was switching in, he got caught. But first, he got caught with a double left hook. It was a double right hook, I think it was. So Gennady caught him the first time, and they caught him a second time. So that kind of made his knees buckle, and then he tripped over Gennady Golovkin's foot and fell back. That's considered a knockdown because he touched him. So here's what it is. He wasn't hurt. It was a flash knockdown, but it was a knockdown. When you're switching stances, you know who's good at switching stances, makes it look naturally and good, besides Terrence Crawford, Marvin Hagler, and all those well-known names. This guy, I keep on forgetting his name. Miguel Cotto does it very well, where he switches to southpaw to go in for the kill. And a couple other guys, I'm trying to remember their names. But besides Floyd Mayweather, those are known names. I forgot the guy's name. I keep on forgetting his name. Faced Tank Davis. He's good at switching stances, going from orthodox to southpaw. All right. So back to what I was saying. So yeah. So I'm just saying this because there's these specific things that, you know, you got to know in boxing. You got to know how, because every move has a counter to it. Every move in boxing has a counter to it. Right? That's just the way how it goes. That's why they say sometimes it's chess, not checkers, because you're kind of looking down the road of what you want to do in the fight. And you don't think of it in terms of moves per se or techniques, but you do look at what you want to do with this guy, how you want to kind of set up as the fight is going on, as it's evolving in front of your face. If you're not kind of caught up in the moment, you know, bit by bit, you're leading things into a certain direction. Right? Again, it's not something you're consciously thinking about per se, but so when you're looking at Canelo is a bad matchup for Sergey Kovalev. Just a horrible matchup for Sergey Kovalev. Okay? That's a nightmare for him. Seeing he's so soft to the body already, it don't make no damn sense. Okay? And Canelo, he's not going to keep Canelo off with a jab. And he's definitely not going to keep Canelo off with a 1-2. He better throw combinations. He's not really a combination puncher. So it's not going to be well for him. Julio Cesar Chavez, who's a combinational puncher, he was limited to single shots against Canelo. He didn't land nothing of work. Triple G, who's a combinational puncher, he tried to throw his combinations. They didn't do shit to Canelo. And all the guys, you see, Canelo has so much experience facing so many different people that, you know, and he's seen so many different looks that what Sergey Kovalev will bring to the table, he's too straightforward. Sergey Kovalev's starting to get some slickness in his boxing with his trainer, and now he's changed trainers. Now with Buddy McGirt. He is what he is. He's not going to be nothing different. You know, he got a nice, decent little jab. You know what I'm saying? He got a decent little jab, but when it comes to, like, you know, other things other than that, he don't got no defense. He'll clinch you up. That's about it. He ain't got no defense other than a jab. And that's not good enough. You have to have other things. He may have the 2 guard where he can block a little bit, but that's about it. Gennady Golovkin, he ain't got no defense. He got a decent jab, but that's it. The jab is what he uses to keep opponents punches every now and then. He right a couple punches, you know, take the steam. But he always get hit. He get hit too damn much. He gets hit way too damn much. All right? Danny Jacobs had a field day. Canelo had a field day against this guy. He's tough. but he can't hit too fucking damn much. And you can't be hit that much in boxing. And so, especially elite boxing, you ain't gonna last long. And they said that Gennady Golovkin been in too many wars. What? He only been in 3 wars. Canelo, Jacobs, that's it. With two guys. He never been in no other. I think one more guy gave him a little run for his money. I think it was I forgot what the guy's name. He get hit too damn much though. You know, for a guy that's supposed to be so dominant and knocking out people, he get hit too damn much. You know, so that's all I got to say about Triple G. And what I mean to say is that Triple G, he got more than just a 1-2. He had, you know, combinations and stuff, and he couldn't land on Canelo. So if he couldn't land on Canelo, how the hell is Sergey Kovalev, who's vulnerable to the body, going to land to Canelo, and Canelo's thing is to hit the body and get on the inside? You got to be fucking kidding me, man. All right, Andre Ward's not as good on the inside fighting as Canelo. You know, he does it out of necessity. You know, he's somewhat proficient at it. That's Canelo does that all the time. Since he's been young, he's been fighting on the inside. He's a good boxer on the outside as well, you know, but he's not really an outside fighter. He's more mid-range inside fighter, right? He'll still land his punches from the outside, but that's not his thing. His thing is inside. That's why they compare him to James Toney, not really Floyd Mayweather, because he's not really a guy who outboxes a lot. You notice that. If he has to do it out of necessity, he'll do it. Okay? All right, so let's get to what we were talking about. Manny Pacquiao versus Keith Thurman. Let's talk about that first, and then we'll go to Sean Porter versus Errol Spence. Nobody really talking about that. Of course, there is no real date set yet about that fight, so that's probably it. I can't remember anybody saying anything about a date. And also, in addition to that, with Errol Spence versus Sean Porter, we don't have a venue either, right? We don't have no date, no venue, but we know the fight's on. First of all, let me start talking about this exciting fight, Keith Thurman versus Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao looks great. Manny Pacquiao looks in shape. Manny Pacquiao looks like he gonna show the world once again, that this 40-year-old man, he about it, right? So I expect Manny Pacquiao taking on this beast called Keith Thurman to do surprisingly well in the fight. Okay, I still got Keith Thurman winning. I don't care what nobody says. Keith Thurman's winning this fight. All right, I don't know how, but he's gonna. The question really that lies in this whole thing is this: Keith Thurman, who is slower than Adrian Broner in his hand speed, for sure. But he's got decent foot speed and moves around the ring. He's got light feet. He doesn't have heavy feet which is amazing because he has light feet, yet he can plant and he can throw really remarkably quickly his power shots. All right? So that's an interesting thing about Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman can plant and throw, but he is light on his feet. He can move around the ring. You know, he's pretty light on his feet. And he's explosive. So, and he has good timing. So with Keith Thurman, you know, you're coming with a guy that can do various things. Keith Thurman, if it's necessary, will fight on the inside. He's not really this great inside fighter, but he can fight on the inside. And we saw that against Sean Porter. He can fight at mid-range, and obviously he can fight on the outside. That's his thing. He can fight on the outside. He likes to get a little bit of range, but he can shorten up his punches and throw them as well. So, with Keith Thurman and Pacquiao has to be aware that Thurman is going to keep him at bay. He's going to keep him at range for most part. Or he's going to tie him up on the inside, or he's going to keep him on the inside and try to do some short work on him. That's what Thurman's goal will be. He's not going to try and stay in Manny Pacquiao's mid-range, but he will be able to hit Pacquiao from his range, which will be outside, whereas Pacquiao will not be able to do that. So those are the things that Keith Thurman will be able to do. Pacquiao, on the other hand, he's going to have to find unique ways to sort of bait Keith Thurman into his range so he can do his thing. And he's going to have to do it very rapidly, and he knows that. He's going to have to throw a lot of combinations, a lot of power, a lot of quickness, you know, to get Keith Thurman's attention. And he will get Keith Thurman's attention. I guarantee you Pacquiao will get Keith Thurman's attention in this fight because he's going to land on Keith Thurman. That's an absolute necessity. But Keith Thurman said he's going to be first. He's going to come out there and dictate. Obviously, Keith Thurman's a very smart guy. I was listening to him, how he sort of worked out the Danny Garcia fight. I think he's going to try and do the same thing Floyd Mayweather has done, which is Floyd Mayweather asserted Pacquiao by, you know, landing some power shots on him in the very first round, so that Pacquiao had to respect him and just not run through him. And I think Keith Thurman's going to do the same thing. He's going to try to get the respect of Pacquiao early, and make sure that Pacquiao understands you're not just running through on me. I'm a real welterweight. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what you think about Antonio Margarito. Might have been an easy run through for you, but I am not. So he's going to try and establish that, kind of like what Floyd did with him, and he's going to establish I'm bigger and stronger than you. So that's what he's going to try to do. Now Pacquiao may have a formula for that to counter that. So we got to watch to see what Pacquiao has up his sleeve, because Pacquiao got a couple of tricks up his sleeve. I'm pretty sure. But a strategy by Pacquiao will be to try to go Keith Thurman into throwing punches at him so that he can counterpunch Keith Thurman by spinning off angles, trying to get Keith Thurman on the weak side. He's a southpaw, so he's trying to get lead foot dominance if he can on Keith Thurman. And then from there, he's going to try and, get Keith Thurman out of there if he can. With Keith Thurman knows the lead right is going to be his ticket. He knows he's going to be able to land the lead right. That's almost a guarantee. He's going to land that lead right at some point in the fight. And he also knows that he's also got his check hook. He knows the check hook works on Pacquiao. He knows that Pacquiao has to, out of desperation at times, lunge in. So he will try to, not lunge in, but he will quick step in. And when he quick steps in, Keith Thurman should be able to check hook him at certain points in time if Keith Thurman knows what he's doing. If he doesn't, it's going to backfire, and Manny Pacquiao is going to land on him instead with his hook. So, because Manny Pacquiao got a hook, okay? A very damn good hook as well. And Pacquiao's jab can be effective in a fight if you don't establish your jab properly. So, Manny Pacquiao versus Keith Thurman is a very exciting fight. It's going to be a very interesting fight. I got to get out of here, but before I do, yes, so are we overlooking Sean Porter versus Errol Spence? We don't have a date. We don't have a location, so nobody's really talking about that. And we're getting closer to the Keith Thurman-Manny Pacquiao fight, so no people are talking about that. But let's talk about Errol Spence versus Sean Porter for a second. So Sean Porter brings a sort of very aggressive style to the table. He's very quick, very explosive. He's got nimble feet. He's not one of those guys who's flat-footed. He's not a flat-footed fighter at all. But yet, he's a very aggressive pressure fighter. He can take a punch, and Sean Porter also likes to work the body. And so Sean Porter, he can be an in and out boxer. He can be on the outside, all of a sudden launching an attack on you and get you to the ropes. He's very quick, unpredictable to some degree. His timing is an interesting one. He can be in and out. He can jump up and down. He can do different things with his jab. He has different kinds of jabs. So Sean Porter versus Errol Spence is a very interesting fight. I understand why some people can't predict the outcome of it, because it depends on how Errol Spence can handle Sean Porter. Now, I listened to Kell Brook talk about Sean Porter versus Errol Spence, and Kell Brook was saying that, he thought that Errol Spence would get him out of there in round 10 or over. That's, Kell Brook did very well against much more inexperienced Sean Porter. This Sean Porter is a little bit more crafty, a little bit more tighter in his offense. I think he's cleaner in his offense a little bit. I've noticed that Sean Porter can't bully true welterweight. So he has not been able to bully a true welterweight. He's bullied Paulie Malignaggi, bullied Danny Garcia. He's bullied, smaller guys. But when it comes to the bigger guys, he's not really being able to do that. So I don't think he'll be able to bully Errol Spence, which means it should be interesting what happens with that fight. So will he be boxing Errol Spence more? Will he pick his spots to attack Errol Spence? Errol Spence is very strong, very thing. Is he working on his strength, maybe, probably, so he can work with Errol Spence? I don't know. But it should be interesting what Sean Porter does. Could he be able to make weight? That's another question. A lot of it is really dependent on Sean Porter. If Sean Porter comes with the usual disruptive game that he has, but he doesn't stay too long in the pocket, it should be a very difficult night for Errol Spence. But if he comes, just either overweight or whatever, and he's trying to, really beat Errol Spence by staying in the pocket too long, he's going to get beat. Okay? Errol Spence has a very effective jab because he uses a jab on a pivot. And the same thing with Kell Brook. They were jabbing on the pivot, on a pivot. So, it is what it is. Publius Strong says, tell people that Spence is not running from Crawford. It's like they don't know boxing. Oh, obviously he's not. Obviously, Errol Spence. Why would he run from Why would he run from Terrence Crawford? For what? Why would he run from Terrence? That's something Bobby Arum likes to say. Oh, he's running like Floyd was running from Margarita. Come on, man. Vincent Green says, yeah, I'm a 100-year-old woman. Yeah, I'm a 7-year-old girl. Yeah, I'm a 1-old man. You're just being stupid, man. All right, so he's trolling. With respect to, Errol Spence is not afraid of Terrence Crawford, and he's not running from him. Obviously, he has fights over at the PBC, and there's a lot of great fights, super fights at the PBC. So he's dealing with those. Terrence Crawford, on the other hand, doesn't have super fights in Top Rank, ESPN. In fact, I heard he's fighting some guy, some European fighter again that I don't know who the fuck that guy is. And what do? Why are you fighting an easy touch? Why are you fighting some guy we don't know about? Why are you not fighting Kell Brook? See, these are the questions I have. Why isn't Terrence Crawford facing Kell Brook? What the fuck is Bob Arum doing? That Kell Brook fight should have happened. That's the fight you should have. That's the test. Errol Spence fought Kell Brook. You really want to fight Errol Spence? Then show us by fighting Kell Brook too. This is the Gennady Golovkin shit that I'm talking about. Gennady Golovkin gets to fight Jaime Munguia, apparently, and Stephen Rose, but you want to fight Canelo. How the fuck? Why would we want to see that fight? Well, because he was robbed before. Just shut the fuck up. Let him fight Demetrius Andrade. Show us that you can beat Demetrius Andrade. If you get your ass beat, then you really didn't deserve the Canelo fight. Beat Demetrius Andrade, then go face Canelo. Show us that this is a fight we really want to see because you're that bad. You're the bad dude. You really did beat Canelo because you beat Demetrius Andrade. But you're not proving shit to me right now by ducking Demetrius Andrade, by ducking Jermell Charlo to face who? Jaime Munguia. Similarly, okay? Similarly, in the same fucking breath, Terrence Crawford faced Amir Let Me Get Laid Out Cold Khan, who we don't give a fuck about. He's not present, interesting. He's not one of the top welterweights. You did absolutely nothing. Proved absolutely no point to me, Terrence Crawford, by getting Amir Khan stopped. Means nothing to me. But you won't face Kell Brook. Who you gonna face? Some obsolete European dude who's a top ranked fighter. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. I need to drink some water. You guys need to come with something, man. Don't be coming with nothing. You know what I'm saying? And so, no, Errol Spence is not afraid of Terrence Crawford. Who's Terrence Crawford facing? Who the hell is Terrence Crawford facing? He's facing nobody's. Why the hell would Errol? So, Amir Khan goes in front of Errol Spence. What do you think is gonna happen? What do you think gonna happen? You think it's going 7 rounds? You think Chris Algieri was giving Amir Khan the fits? Fuck out of here, Terrence Crawford. And they call him pound for pound number 1 in the world. I'm like, what? Him and Lomachenko ain't pound for pound number 1 shit. None of them. All right, because if you fighting some European fighter, we don't even know who the fuck that guy is, right? You're fighting that dude, but you're telling me you're making the case for Terrence Crawford to beat Errol Spence. Errol Spence is fighting fighters. He fought Mikey Garcia. He's a better fighter than Amir Khan. All right? Oh, Errol Spence couldn't knock out Mikey because he had defense. Amir Khan ain't got no defense except his speed. Canelo knocked the spark out of Amir Khan. You know what I'm saying? And why they keep it? Why is Amir Khan not fighting one of the top 10 welterweights? Because they knocked the fuck out of him. Danny Garcia already knocked his ass out. Right? He's not. Amir Khan's a facade. He's a joke. Look, who's he fighting right now? Some guy named, what is it, Billy Dibb? What? Billy Dibb? Who the fuck is Billy Dibb? Who the fuck is Billy Dibb? Why isn't he fighting a welterweight? A real welterweight. He's not fighting a real welterweight. He's fighting Billy Dibb. Why? Because if he fights any real, well, including Kell Brook, he gets knocked out. He gets stopped. Okay? He's a joke. Okay? He gets stopped. His career is all but over. Hence Billy Dibb in Saudi Arabia. Alright? So why are we even entertaining the notion that Terrence Crawford is pound for pound number 1? Why? Who he faced at welterweight to make him pound for pound number 1? Not a pound for pound fighter for one. Right? Errol Spence fought a pound for pound fighter. Was a pound for pound fight. Okay? And that fighter was a better fighter than Amir Khan. Any day of the week. Any month of the year. Hence, it was a pay-per-view. Why do you think Terrence Crawford pay-per-view flopped? Because the competition, people didn't buy it. People didn't buy into that. You're going to fight Terrence Crawford? Mister, lay me out cold, Khan. That's who you're going to face? Really? Why do you think Khan avoided Sean Porter? You think Khan survives to the third round with Sean Porter? Let's think about this. Keith Thurman wanted to fight Amir Khan. Errol Spence wanted to fight Amir Khan, right? Amir Khan gets knocked out by any legitimate high-tier welterweight. He even gets stopped by Andre Berto, because Andre Berto could take a punch. Andre Berto will stop him. Amir Khan versus Andre Berto stops him. You see what I'm saying? So, Terrence Crawford didn't prove anything by knocking out. It took too long to knock out Amir Khan. And he outboxed Amir Khan. So, Amir Khan can't box. That's what he's basically telling you. Amir Khan gets stopped, man, by everybody in the welterweight division who's somebody. All right? Manny Pacquiao stops Amir Khan at this stage. Okay? So, he ain't done nothing. Right? And then Terrence Crawford now, he's going to be facing, what's the guy? Let me have a look and I'll tell you who the guy is. Hold on a second. Because I have other things to say. This stream actually gets interesting. But okay. Yeah, okay. But first, hold on, let me see what they say. Let me see if they have it here. Yes, that's the, no. Yes. Thank you. I don't know if it's official yet. No, it's not official yet. But he's looking at some European fighter. Some European fighter dude. He's looking at next. Okay? And to me, that's just lame ass, if you ask me. Alright, so Errol Spence is not ducking. Errol Spence is not ducking, my friend. He's not ducking Terrence Crawford. It's that Terrence Crawford's across the pond. Errol Spence has very good competition on this side of the pond. He's got world champions. He's got Sean Porter, who's the WBC world champion. You got the winner of Keith Thurman versus Manny Pacquiao, who's another world champion. So if he can get past Sean Porter, because somebody's going to be unified. If he can get past Sean Porter, then he has to face he's going to face either Keith Thurman or Manny Pacquiao for the WBA belt. Okay? So it's a lovely little round robin going on right now where we have Keith Thurman versus Manny Pacquiao. We got Sean Porter versus Errol Spence. The winner of those two going to meet each other. And then they consolidate all the belts. And then right after that, they're going to face Terrence Crawford. And he's going to be easy work for one of them because he's not been battle tested. Whereas those have been battle tested. So whoever comes out of that last man standing is going to face Terrence Crawford. That's how it's going to work. You know, that's how it's going to work. So, you know, and Terrence Crawford, what he got to do is fight worthy opposition. You can't be facing some European nobody. What the fuck is that? You know, you have no resume at welterweight right now. Amir Khan is a name, but he's nobody. You know, you need to get a proper name on your resume, and the name you need to have on your resume is Kell Brook. Kell Brook is the dude you should face next. You faced Amir Khan, who you dusted. Face Kell Brook. You should be able to get a win over Kell Brook. Why the fuck are y'all not trying to make a fight with Kell Brook? That's what I don't understand. That's the guy you need to make the fight with. That's the guy you need to face. Let's see what happens with Kell Brook's eyes. If it holds up, if Kell Brook makes the distance, does Kell Brook even win that fight? We don't know. He's a legitimate welterweight. He's a legitimate welterweight. You know what I'm saying? You know, so let's see Kell Brook versus Terrence Crawford. We don't want to see no shit fight, no some fucking nobody European fighter facing Terrence Crawford. We want to see somebody legit. This will be the first legit fighter. You can't get Danny Garcia, even though Danny Garcia ain't got no fight right now. If you can't get Danny Garcia, then get Kell fucking Brook. And if you ain't getting Kell Brook and you fighting some jackass Eastern European fighter, then fuck that. I don't give a fuck about Terrence Crawford. Because so far, he been all hype. Y'all been hyping his ass up, but he ain't facing nobody, okay? He hasn't faced anybody at welterweight so far. So y'all been hyping him up, but he ain't faced nobody, okay? Right? And don't tell me he ain't got nobody to face because he got Kell Brook right there, sitting down. It's the same thing with Demetrius Andrade and Jamal Charlo. They got each other. Now, Jamal Charlo is going to be a little bit harder to make than Kell Brook versus Terrence Crawford. Kell Brook versus Terrence Crawford not hard to make. You know what I'm saying? Charlo versus Demetrius Andrade might be hard to make. Who knows? The PBC fighter Andy Ruiz was able to make a fight with Anthony Joshua, so it shouldn't be that hard. So Charlo versus Andrade, they should make that. You know, if Andrade can't get a Canelo fight, Charlo should be trying to make a fight with Andrade or trying to make a fight with Danny Jacobs. And Andrade should be trying to make a fight with Billy Joe Saunders. There's all those fights there. You know, he might have to go up to 168 though, but at the end of the day, those are the fights available for those guys as well, right? So anyway, what happens if Sean Porter faces Errol Spence? Errol Spence got, like I said before, he has the jab with the pivot, so maybe he can keep Sean Porter at bay like how Kell Brook did, or maybe he can't. We'll see. But what I do know is it's a nice little challenge for Errol Spence if Sean Porter starts to get into his game and somehow can get on the inside. You know, Errol Spence is very clinical on the inside as well, throws a lot of punches as well in fights. So it'd be interesting, the tenacious Sean Porter versus Errol Spence, who's more of a clinician, you know. So we'll see how that turns out. A technician and clinician. You know what I mean? All right, let me talk about some other things. So we were talking about Canelo for a minute, and Canelo got the ESPN Fighter of the Year award, which they say people award fighters. And that's all well and good, but what the fuck? I don't even know what this is. Alright, but we want to talk about Clarissa Shields for a minute. Fighter of the Year. Look at what Clarissa Shields did. And she only has had 9 fights, okay? In 2018, because this is where they got, you're going to be Fighter of the Year if it's 2018, right? So you look at 2008. In 2018, Tori Nelson, okay, who was the WBC World Super Middleweight Champion, faced Super Middleweight, by the way. Clarissa Shields faced her. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. The year before, Nikki Adler, who was the WBC Female Super Middleweight Champion, was beaten by Clarissa Shields. And they were also fighting for the IBF World Super Middleweight title. So Clarissa Shields became the unified IBF WBC Super Middleweight Champion of the world. And her first defense in 2018 was January the 12th against Tori Nelson. So in 2018, she defended her Super Middleweight title. She then moved down to middleweight and fought Hannah Gabriels, who was a 154-pounder. Who wasn't really a middleweight, but fought Hannah Gabriel for the IBF Female Middleweight Championship and the WBA Female Middleweight Championship. They were both vacant titles. Okay? And she beat Hannah Gabriel by unanimous decision. I thought Hannah Gabriel won that fight, but who cares? She then went on to unify against Hannah Franklin to get the WBC. Did I say WBC? It was WBA. She was unified WBA IBF female middleweight champion. She went on to face Hannah Rankin, who was the WBC female middleweight champion, and was able to defeat her. And then she became, therefore, the unified IBF, WBA, and WBC middleweight champion. Okay, she went on to defend that title against Fem Hermans, and then she faced Christina Hammer very recently, and she was able to beat Christina Hammer to become the undisputed female middleweight champion. Because Christina Hammer had the WBO, she had the WBO, WBC, WBA, and IBF titles. So this motherfucker has become world champion in 2 weight classes, an undisputed world champion in the lower weight class, which is middleweight. So she became unified super middleweight champion within 4 fucking fights. And then she became middleweight champion in the next 5 fights. That's some crazy ass shit. So she only has 9 fights in her career. She claims that she is the best ever female boxer of all fucking time. I cannot dispute her. Just based on those statistics. She had 2 KOs, 9 fights, no losses. In 9 fucking fights, she's had, of course, in the female boxing organization, not many female boxers, but the point is, Clarissa Shields has done some shit that no other female boxer's done. She's gotten world titles in 2 divisions. She has 6 world titles in 2 fucking divisions with 9 fucking fights. Somebody make that make sense. She definitely has a claim to be TBE of and the greatest woman boxer of all time. She has claim to that. Whether you like it or not, that's facts. Facts don't fucking lie. People do. And numbers. You know what I'm saying? So that's what she got. And all of that shit she did in 2018 to 2019. She defended her super middleweight title and then acquired and became undisputed fucking middleweight champion of the world. All in 2018 to 2019. So why is it women have to go and do cartwheels and flips and all kinds of shit and not be recognized as fighter of the year? I don't know. But she wasn't even fucking nominated for fighter of the year. Think about that. Clarissa Shields. Phenomenal. Alright? Now I see Cecilia Brackett's looking at, she want to go after Clarissa Shields. I'm talking about having a fight. I don't think she's going to win that fight because she got to be stronger than Clarissa Shields to be able to beat her. If you're not physically stronger than Clarissa Shields, you could be a technically good boxer, whatever. If you're not physically stronger than her, you're not going to win that fight. It's just what it is. Alright? She'll just bully your ass. And you can't be one-dimensional either. You gotta have skill. The only one, I think, the person who really was fighting Clarissa Shields and got really fucking good skill is Hannah Gabriels. Hannah Gabriels was laying some hands on her, and Hannah Gabriels got skill. I thought Hannah Gabriels won the fight, but Clarissa Shields was so physically imposing that I think people thought Clarissa Shields won that fight. But Hannah Gabriels is the better boxer, clearly, you know. But when you look at the wins and the amount of fights and the statistics and what she has accomplished, Clarissa Shields definitely has a claim to being the best woman boxer of all time, or the greatest woman boxer of all time, whatever you want to call it. Y'all don't know how to like her, but numbers don't lie. People do. So I just thought I would talk about that because she did all that shit in 2018 to 2019. What guys ain't doing, okay? Crazy. You see this woman? She's a badass, man. She's a badass, and y'all may not like her, but it doesn't matter. She's a badass. All right. Okay. Talk about something else. So when you look at Saul Canelo Alvarez and why they call him fighter of the fighter of the year. This is what he did in 2018 and 2019. He beat Gennady Golovkin in the second fight. He then went on to face Rocky Fielding at 168 and beat him. And he picked up a title up there, a paper title, but nonetheless a title. And then he beat Danny Jacobs to get to become the IBF, WBA, and WBC world champion. Now, if he finishes off this year by facing Demetrius Andrade and beating Demetrius Andrade, then he becomes unified. He becomes undisputed champion, and he would also have been a world champion at super welterweight, even though he wouldn't have defended that same year, and he would have a paper title at 168. And if he goes on in 168 win legitimate titles at 168, you know, he'd have done more than. But Clarissa Shields did. I mean, she defended, you know, her title at super middleweight, and then came on to win all those titles and become undisputed champion at middleweight. That's some crazy shit to be doing in 1 year. I'm just saying, you know. So yeah, that's what happened. So the other person who Dante Boxing Nation was talking about was Andy Ruiz, who had a hell of a year. And I'm gonna show you what Andy Ruiz, what he did in a minute. You just let me show you what Andy Ruiz did. And Andy Ruiz Jr. is his name. You know, huh? I can't seem to find him. That's fucked up. It's Andy Ruiz Jr. Maybe I should put you in mind. He what the fuck? It's fucking. I hate phones, you know. It's not J.E. Thank you. There we go. Oh yeah, Alejandro Gonzalez was the guy that actually knocked down Cal Frampton. And his father beat the crap out of Kevin Kelly. Right. Andy Ruiz. Okay, so Andy Ruiz in 2018, he didn't really have no big fights in 2018, but he was busy. So he beat guys like Kevin Johnson. That's not really, you know, Kevin Johnson's a tall guy, but hey, he beat him. And then he beat a guy called Alexander Dimitrenko. Nobody really know him. And then he went on in 2019 to beat Anthony Joshua, the undefeated unified heavyweight champion of the world. So he won the IBF, he won the WBA, and he won the WBO titles that we really care about. The other ones I don't care about. So he won 3 of the 4 belts. Andrew is sitting like a king right now. You know, it was the upset of the decade. You know what I'm saying? You know, there was other upsets. You know, like you know, J Rock defeating Jarrett Hurd and Tony Harrison defeating Jamel Charlo. You know, those are. But this one was epic because nobody thought Anthony Joshua would get beaten by Ruiz. He was seen as the premier boxer. You know, aside from Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. Andy Ruiz beat him. And beat him comprehensively. It wasn't like a flukes. He outboxed his ass. And so, if you ask me who should be the fighter of the year, I thought the fighter of the year and fighter of the year would be Andy Ruiz because he shocked the whole entire world. That's the upset of the decade. That is definitely the upset of the decade. I don't think there's anything that can top that. So, you know, I thought that I would talk about that a little bit. The other thing I want to talk about, I told you I have a bunch of things I want to talk about. Time is against me, but let's see if I can get this thing in there. I got one more thing. Hold on a second. There we go. So, the last thing I want to talk about is upcoming fights. Rob Brandt, who y'all might not know, he's actually the middleweight WBA regular champion, which would be because I think Canelo is the super champion at the WBA. Rob Brandt is actually the regular champion, a paper champion is what he is. He's going to be rematching Ryota Murata this weekend. Okay, he's trained by Eddie Mustafa Muhammad. But then again, you guys don't even give a fuck about that. But you know, that he's also somebody you should consider for facing a guy like Triple G or Canelo that nobody's talking about. They just don't talk about. All right. Anyway, over the weekend as well, Joe Joyce, he's going to be facing Brian Jennings. That's a good ass fight. You guys need to go watch that one. That's a good fight. And we're talking about Ray Vargas versus Tomoki Kamita at the lower weight classes. I thought these guys had faced each other before. Let me see if I'm right. I guess I'm wrong. Lost twice to Jamie McDonald. Okay. I guess not. He never faced Ray Vargas. We were talking about it over the weekend. So probably I don't know. I think I'm thinking of Francisco Vargas versus another guy. Francisco Vargas, by the way, is I think he's still champion at. I will check, but anyway. Also, Diego De La Hoya, he's going to be back in action. He's going to be facing Ronnie Rios. That's about it. But Joe Joyce versus Brian Jennings. That's a good fucking matchup. I don't know who's going to win that. We'll see if Brian Jennings can take it or if it's Joe Joyce is going to continue his undefeated streak. We'll see. I don't know. Not interested in Liam Williams versus Karim Akor. Rob Brandt versus Ryota Murata. That's more interesting to me. So we'll see what happens with that. And next week, Friday, Teofimo Lopez is going to be facing Masayoshi Nakatani. And we'll see if Teofimo can beat him. Qualify him to face Richard Comey. So we'll see what happens with that. Keith Thurman will be facing Manny Pacquiao. And Dillian White will face Oscar Rivas. Oscar Rivas is a Colombian boxer. Currently fucking undefeated. 6 feet tall. Recently stopped Brian Jennings in the 12th round. Should be a good ass fight. Colombian boxer. So that will also be on the same week as Keith Thurman versus Manny Pacquiao. I do believe also that there's another fight that I'm supposed to be looking at over the weekend, but it's not here. This is not on the main card or whatever. Which would be forgot what his name is. It's all good. So those are the upcoming fights for you guys to check out. Enjoy yourself checking those fights out. Thank you so very much for the likes, guys, who come through and liked my video and moved on. We'll see if Dillian White can get past Oscar Rivas. Or if Oscar Rivas is going to beat his ass. We'll see. I don't know. Alright, those are the upcoming fights. You guys can check those things out. The one that really intrigues me is Joe Joyce versus Brian Jennings, to be honest with you. That's the one that intrigues me. Joe Joyce still on the up and up. He has a different trainer now. Let's see if his approach is the same. I thought he was kind of sloppy in his last couple of fights, but we'll see. Brian Jennings is kind of crisp guy, but he did get stopped by the guy who's going to be facing Dillian White, Oscar Rivas. So who knows? Who knows? Oh, also, I forgot. On that same week with Keith Thurman versus Manny Pacquiao here, Dennis Ugas is going to face Omar Figueroa Jr. Omar Figueroa, I don't think he lost any fights yet, has he? Anybody beat Omar Figueroa yet? Somebody beat him? Who beat Omar Figueroa? Yeah, Dennis Ugas is going to be facing Omar Figueroa. So, nope, hasn't been beat. He's undefeated. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. Yeah, his last fight was against John Molina Jr. And people thought John Molina won. It was a nice action-packed fight. I think Estrada is supposed to be fighting as well, but I didn't see nothing on him. See anything on Estrada, so not quite sure when Estrada's fighting. Johan Estrada. Johan Francisco Estrada. I think he's supposed to fight at some point. I guess people know when that'll be. He's a good ass fighter. So those are the upcoming fights. Let's see if there's anything else I want to say. So what's my prediction for the upcoming fights? That's a good one. Rob Brandt versus Ryota Murata. I predict that I think he'll win again. He needs to win clearly in Japan to get that title. So we'll see how it goes. You know, if it's close, I think Ryota Murata will get it this time. Joe Joyce versus Brian Jennings. It's a good fight. I don't know who I favor. I don't know who I favor in that fight. Even though Brian Jennings has been stopped, I still think that it's still competitive in that fight. That I can't just give to Joe Joyce. And Joe Joyce likes to throw combination stuff. He's not a heavy puncher, but he throws combinations and stuff. Can he get that? Can he do that to Brian Jennings? I don't see why he can't, but I don't know. Joe Joyce. I don't know. What you guys think? Who do you pick for to win? Joe Joyce or Brian Jennings? You guys tell me. I'm gonna be listening. I'm not too sure. I think I'm gonna pick Joe Joyce just because he's undefeated. But I honestly, I think that's a 50-50 fight. I think Brian Jennings wins. I haven't seen Brian Jennings of late, but from what I know of his style, you know, it's kind of difficult. He likes to fight on the inside, so I don't know. Maybe Joe Joyce beats him. I mean, the other guy, it went 12 rounds with the other guy, so I don't know. All right, and then the other two fights are not as intriguing. Diego De La Hoya versus Ronnie Rios. I guess it's a feature bout for Diego De La Hoya. I guess he wins. And Ray Vargas versus Tomoki Kamita. Ray Vargas. You know about Ray Vargas. He is the current WBC Super Bantamweight champion. And Tomoki Kamita is going to face him. He's defended his title successfully 1, 2, 3, 4 times. You can count the other one as 5. So I guess I'm going to have to favor him because he's winning. Kamita should be a nice challenge for him. A step-up challenge. So we'll see how it works out. Ray Vargas versus Tomoki Kamita. Yeah, I'm going to favor Ray Vargas. So my picks are Diego De La Hoya. On Saturday, Diego De La Hoya, Ray Vargas, and Joe Joyce. And then on Friday, Rob Brandt should take it against Ryota Murata. We'll see. I don't know if I'm 100% correct on any of these. That's what I say. I think the other things would be an upset. So that's what I'm looking at it like that. That's my picks. For those of you who want to bet, that's my picks. Okay, you can go with my picks. I think it flows pretty much according to the favorites. I think. Yeah. Yup. Teofimo Lopez has his own card. He's going to be facing Masayoshi Nakatani. He should get the win over that, which will set him up to face Richard Comey by the end of the year. And we'll see if he can beat Richard Comey. If he beats Richard Comey, who has been undefeated as well. I don't think Richard Comey is a defeated fighter. I think he's an undefeated young boxer. Oh, I'm wrong. He has been defeated twice. He's from Ghana. He's beaten Raimundo Beltran. Let's see. He became IBF lightweight champion facing Issa Chaniev. He just beat Raimundo Beltran to be, to have defended his title successfully for the first time. He lost to Denis Shafikov and Robert Easter Jr. They were both close fights. So he's a good fighter. So Richard Comey should be interesting. If because he's still in his prime, if he seems to have some power because he has a high knockout ratio. If Teofimo Lopez could get rid of Richard Comey in a sort of emphatic style, it would tell us, hey man, we're ready for that Lomachenko fight. It depends on how he beats Richard Comey. And he's really not stepped up to that level yet. He's stepping up rather rapidly, but he hasn't stepped up to that level. So we'll see. I don't know. Teofimo Lopez is a good boxer, so we'll see. See how that turns out. Okay. Dillian White, he's facing Oscar Rivas. Don't know too much about Oscar Rivas except that he beat I'm not too sure why Isaac Chilimba, he beat Brian Jennings recently, stopping him in the 12th. So, I mean, that's a good name on your resume. It's a solid all-round Philly fighter, tough, and he beat him. So, we'll see what he can do with Dillian White. I don't see him not beating Dillian White if he's that good. If he beat, I haven't seen him. I have to look at him. I'll tell you if he's a legitimate threat and that actually he can use Dillian White as a stepping stone for his career, or if it's going to be the other way around. So, yep, that's what we got in upcoming fights. That's who I pick. I forgot. I'm gonna pick. So Teofimo Lopez versus Masayoshi Nakatani. I'm gonna go the other, a little further away. I got Teofimo Lopez. Keith Thurman versus Manny Pacquiao. I got Keith Thurman. Dillian White versus Oscar Rivas. I got Oscar Rivas. I'm just gamble that. I don't know nothing about Oscar Rivas. I need to go watch him fight, but I'm gonna pick Oscar Rivas just because he undefeated. And he beat Brian Jennings, which is stupid. Don't pick people like that. You're gonna lose. You have to look at the fight style first. That's stupid what I just did, but I'm gonna pick Oscar Rivas. Just because I just think Dillian White almost got knocked out by Joseph Parker. I think Oscar Rivas, he's undefeated and just beat Brian Jennings. He probably could beat Dillian White. So we'll see. I don't know. And then we got Yordenis Ugas versus Omar Figueroa Jr. I think Omar Figueroa was going to get his ass beat by Yordenis Ugas. If he's trying to trade with Yordenis Ugas, if he's not boxing him, Yordenis Ugas is going to beat his ass. You might even stop him. So I pick Yordenis Ugas to beat Omar Figueroa on that one. Hey, I know that. Most people don't know about this guy, but Michel Soro, he's going to be facing Magomed Korbanov. I like Michel Soro. I haven't really actually looked at any of his fights since the fight with what's that guy's name? With I think Michel Soro fights at I thought he fights at super middleweight, but now I see he's fighting super welterweight. Yeah, after his fight with Glenn Tapia, I really liked him. When he stopped Glenn Tapia in 4 rounds. So anyway, Michel Soro, he hasn't been, again, he's not really in the forefront to be fighting, He lost to Brian Carlos Castaño, that same guy that fought and beat Arislandi Lara. It was a split decision win, so it is what it is. But since then, he's been fighting other guys. He's going to be fighting Magomed Kurbanov, undefeated Eastern European fighter. And hopefully he's not used as a stepping stone. Hopefully he can upset that dude and beat him. So we'll see. It's the vacant WBA super welterweight title. He's really more of a middleweight. But he's been fighting at super welterweight recently, it seems. I don't know. Magma might get the decision because he's the up and coming dude, but I really like this guy. He's from Ivory Coast. Michel Soro. He's a good fucking fighter. He's never been stopped. He only lost 2 fights, and the 2 fights he lost, one was against Brian Castaños Castano, it was a split decision loss, and the other one was against some dude named Zurbek Baysangulov. It was for the IBO and the WBO support. So when he's fighting for a legitimate title, and if there's another guy that's a favorite, it looks like he loses the fight. Here's what it is. But he's a good boxer. I like it. I like it. And he gonna be also fighting over the weekend with Keith Thurman. He'll be facing Magomedov Korobanov, and yeah. So I just covered 2 weekends in a row. So you know what I think about those fights. Those are the favorites I pick. I picked Misha Soro to beat Magomed Korobanov. I don't know nothing about Magomed Korobanov, but whatever. I make it Misha Soro beating him because I like Misha Soro. That's it. There's no reasoning behind it really. And that's basically it. So I wanted to just go through all those names and all those things. It's almost 6 o'clock, folks. We had a lot of businesses close off. I wanted to be able to go out there and do a couple things before I come back here. So I'm going to be splitting right now. Enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like the video if you pass through and you like it. Get this smoke. Hey, I didn't know you was there. Get the smoke says Hopkins versus Smith, my pick for upset of the decade. Hopkins versus Smith. A joke. Yeah, okay. Oh, that's of the decade. Yeah. Joe Smith Jr. did knock his ass out the ring. So I get it. Yeah. And Hopkins is a legend. So yeah, I can dig that. I can dig that. But you know, Hopkins only had how many titles out? Hopkins didn't have no title. It was his last fight anyway. And he was 50. You know. That's a way to get out of boxing though. But Joe Smith was like, get the fuck out of boxing. He really beat him from pillar to post. That was a good ass fight though. Ooh, Bernard Hopkins. Yeah. Yeah. But you know, on a serious note, we weren't talking about fight of the decade. Nonetheless, I get what you're saying. Fighter of the year. I thought Andy Ruiz should get fighter of the year, but you know, I think Andy Ruiz should get. Well, he won't get fighter of the decade, but I thought it was the upset of the decade. You know, I thought it was the upset of the decade. From 2010 to 2019, I don't think nobody else upset it worse. I mean, Hopkins was old. You know, Anthony Joshua was in his prime. And nobody thought that Anthony Joshua would get beat. People thought Hopkins was going to get his ass beat. I heard trainers and stuff talking about that. But and even Sergey Kovalev versus Hopkins, when Sergey Kovalev had that beating on him, beat his ass up. You know, that was a good ass beating too. He dropped him twice. Hopkins got his ass beat. His 2 last fights were beatdowns. And that motherfucker was just going for all the smoke in the world. They was telling him Joe Smith Jr. is not a good pick. He was like, I want Joe Smith Jr. At 50, he was going for all that smoke. Oh, he got the smoke. And that motherfucker had the audacity to say Joe Smith Jr. pushed him out the ring. I think he fell way too much on his head. That's a funny one. Yeah, that was a classic for real. Get that smoke. Eddie Mustafa Maeda had some epic fights. Yeah. He was a bad boy. He was the weight champion. And he trained some really good people too. Eddie Mustafa Muhammad. You know, he's a really good trainer. He trained he's trained a bunch of guys and got a lot of champions on him. He's a good fucking trainer, man. Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, he trained the regular champion at middleweight. So when you look at the WBA regular champion, You got a regular champion, you got a super champion. Cannelo's the super champion at WBA. The regular champion is not Ryota Murata. That's the guy he's gonna face. But I said the guy's name was, because I don't even remember. Rob Brandt. Yeah, Rob Brandt is the regular champion. In fact, let me show you. There's Rob Brandt is the regular. He's the regular WBA middleweight champion right now. Yeah. I'm sure you can see that shit. Come on. Zoom in, motherfucker. I hate when these fucking cameras do me this. It's a good camera, so don't fuck me up. Come on, motherfucker. What the fuck? You not focus. You focusing on me, but you not. What the hell is this? Man, technology can be a piss ass motherfucker. Now it's upside down. Why are you doing that? I don't understand. You know what? I can submit that. I can do like this. There you go. There you go. You can see that. World Boxing Association. World Middleweight. Hold up. Middleweight title, right? So you see that. Yeah. Anyways, man. It is what it is. I've talked enough boxing. If y'all want to mix it up, hey, if you want to mix it up, I'm so sorry. Get the smoke. I can't seem to get the hangouts to work, and I gotta go out the road now. Gotta get out the road and do some stuff, but I can't get the hangout to work. It's not working. Tommy Temper told me it doesn't work from the phone. So if Tommy Temper could arrange for us to talk, I hope he's not sleeping. We can arrange a hangout, and I'm gonna talk to you about Sergey Kovalev not being a threat in any. I mean, he is a threat. You know, he got puncher's chance against Canelo, but he not a threat against Canelo. Not against Canelo, man. I be talking real talk all the time, man. I be talking real talk all the time. I just demonstrated to people what I'm talking about. You know, you know who? Like I said, guys who are a real threat to Canelo, I think are like Bivol, who got that all-around skill. You know, can fight on the inside, can fight on the outside. I think that Bivol gives Canelo trouble, and could beat Canelo. I think so. But Canelo uses feints as well. He throws in feints and shit. Canelo's a lot more complicated than people think. That's all I'm gonna say. You know, and a lot of people just don't understand how skilled that guy is. You know, just because Floyd beat him, trust me, Floyd beat him, but Floyd is on another level. Period. Okay, but people just don't understand. You know, they think Erislandy Lara, for example, beat Canelo. No, he didn't. I'm gonna tell you why. Okay, Canelo was getting to that body. He was getting to the body. You can't be beating a guy that's landing body shots like that on you, and you're on the move, and he's still tagging you to the body. You're on the move, and he's still tagging you to the body, right? So your movement's becoming nullified, and then he hits you with an uppercut somewhere in the 7th, 8th round. I can't remember which round it was. Bust your eye open. Nice flush uppercut as you're moving. You know what I'm saying? That means your movement's ineffective. He might be able to cut off the ring on you, but he is still landing punches on you as you're moving. And that reminded me of Oscar De La Hoya versus, oh shit, I can't remember the guy's name. See some of this stuff and you know, this is a guy I subscribe to, and I just can't remember his name. It reminded me of that fight. Oscar De La Hoya versus oh, he's coming to me, and then he's just disappeared. What the fuck? Man, I still don't know how to handle technology, you know. I'm trying to close this shit down, and it won't close. It won't minimize. There you go. Well, you know, old farts like us, we're not really great with technology. The younger guys, man, they just be like, not the old people. I can't remember who it was. Oscar De La Hoya anyway versus
whatever the guy's name is. He's a very good boxer. I can't remember. He stopped the guy eventually. And same thing. Oscar was just catching the guy while he was, because his movement was too predictable. See, if you're gonna move, and that's why I tell you, all this excessive bouncing in the ring, you bouncing all around the ring. It's stupid sometimes because the guy he can predict your rhythm. You're galloping around, get it. He gonna catch you, but it doesn't matter if you change the direction. He gonna catch you eventually. What Sugar Ray Leonard used to do back in the day, it don't work today. The guys are gonna actually catch your rhythm, and then they're gonna work your ass. They're gonna get you in the corner and work you. So you have to be more. You have to throw in feints. It's not just a simple, double feint. There's the basic double feint where they galloping around the ring, get it, and then they come at you and in or out action with a double feint, and then they continue to move around the ring. It don't work. You know what I'm saying? It don't work now. Not nowadays. Guys know how to deal with that shit. That's why I said boxing has evolved a lot. So that if a guy's trying to be elusive like that, it's harder. Shit, the heavyweight dude. I forgot what his name is too. It'll come to me though. It'll come to me. He fought Deontay Wilder. He fought Derek Chisora. Some people said that he was robbed against Derek Chisora. I just can't remember his name. But if I look it up, I'm sure I'm gonna find it. But that dude, he uses that bounce style. And he was the guy that was talking about separating bouncing from pivoting. But I was talking about that because I saw a documentary where Floyd was talking about that. But Floyd was talking about it. Like Floyd laid out exactly what he was for people to know. People just decided they didn't want to actually pay attention to that, and they wanted to have their own narrative about him. Because a lot of people just didn't like him. Darryl Coley. Watch Oscar De La Hoya versus Darryl Coley. Darryl Coley was doing stick and move, but he was bouncing around the ring. When you're circling your opponent, you circle wide, you go out, but these guys will circle wide behind. Not taking a walk, but instead they'll bounce out. And if you don't give them that space to bounce out, while they're bouncing, you timing their bounce, you can catch them as a pressure fighter. And they'll try to skip out. Sometimes they actually go into a jog, like Erislandy Lara went in a jog against Canelo, because Canelo was closing the gap too quick when he tried to circle out. Malik Scott, that's the guy I'm talking about. Malik Scott. He the guy that he tried to circle out on Wilder just knocked his ass out. And Malik Scott talking about Floyd. And people talk about Floyd as a defensive fighter, or let me see who else they talk about as defensive fighters. Pernell Whitaker's a defensive fighter. But it's not, these guys are defensively responsible, but they're not defensive fighters. They do have offense. And here's another thing I really get pissed about. Hey, let me tell you a channel to check out as well. Troy Killertainment King. Check that shit out. He a boxer too. He know what I'm talking about. And the other guy is DT3. Check out DT3. That's another boxer. And I don't agree with everything DT3 says, but DT3 always have facts. He really talks sensible stuff. All right. So you really wanna get the real of boxing with good explanation. Check DT3 and check Troy Killertainment King. Those are two fucking good channels. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna break it like that. They actually talk boxing, and when they talk, they make sense to me. But anyway, what was I saying? So when it comes to like when it comes to if you see if you can't if see, there's a time for pivoting and there's a time for skipping or shuffling or bouncing. You know, there's a time when you can use any one of those things. But some people are on a steady diet of bouncing where it's not necessary, or shuffling. Shuffling is good too. You shuffle in really quickly and you know, you can do different things. You could shuffle to reset. You could bounce to reset. You could skip. You could skip to confuse. So there's different things you can do for different reasons, right? But I was talking to another guy who appreciates the what boxing really is, and he was explaining, some of the preparation that boxers go through to have fights. And there's a lot of stuff that people don't really know goes on in the background with boxers preparing for fights, especially nowadays. In the past, it was a little bit different. So if you listen to Keith Thurman carefully for his preparation for Manny Pacquiao, you're really learning a lot about the training sessions. You got the daylight training sessions. You got a nighttime training sessions. And why you may have training sessions in the afternoon and into the night is because the boxing fights happen in the night. So you can't just be doing training in the day. You have to also do in the afternoon as well. And also on top of that, if you're cutting weight, then you train for that as well. And almost all boxers, no matter who they're talking about, have to cut weight for a fight because they rehydrate, and they're not that weight that they went on the scale the day before. On fight night, they're not that weight. Floyd used to say roundabout it earlier in his Money Mayweather career, but as his career moved on, he obviously moved away from that 148, 146, 149 weight. He started to move more towards 150s, and now he probably 160 something because he looks very big now. So even though he stays in shape, he's still big, and that's because boxers, they don't really walk around the weight that they box at. A lot of them are much bigger than the weight class they're in, right? Errol Spence is a 175 pounder. Keith Thurman was a 180 pound dude. Sean Porter, 180 pounds, right? Porter's now hanging around 147. He's probably 155, 157. You just had to lose 10 pounds. Keith Thurman has to keep somewhere around 160. Errol Spence is like 170, 175 walk around. Kell Brooks probably around the same weight. Danny Garcia is 160 something. These motherfuckers are big motherfuckers. Those welterweight fights are not really welterweight fights. They're more like middleweight fights. Because these guys get up to 150 something, 160, 165 on fight night. They're big motherfuckers, right? And this is not something that's unique. Back in Shane Mosley's time, Mosley versus Vernon Forrest, them guys coming in 160 something. Mosley versus Margarito, they were coming in 160 something. They're big motherfuckers, right? It's just what it is. Mosley would go up to super welterweight, fight there, come back down to welterweight. So, they're big motherfuckers. So it's not like this is the first time this is happening, okay? Oscar De La Hoya, that motherfucker probably came in 170 something versus Floyd Mayweather back in in the day, in 2007 when he faced Floyd Mayweather. So don't make it sound like these guys were small guys. They're not small guys. All right. My point being
that if you look at Peter Quillen, for example, Peter Quillen, he was fighting at middleweight, but unofficially, this motherfucker be walking around 190 pounds. He a fucking cruiserweight that shrinks down into middleweight. So when you see these guys with tremendous punching power, you saying, man, these motherfuckers are strong. It's because they actually naturally weigh 190 something. Peter Quillen's a bigger guy than me. I'm 175. So when I say I fight at 154, you know what I'm saying? But I walk around 175. You understand what I'm saying? So at 154, I'm going to be very strong at 154. Because officially I'm 154. I make the 154 scale. But when I'm finished, I'm 175. I'm just like Sandy Lara, like Canelo Alvarez. Sandy Lara was 173 when he faced Canelo. Canelo was like 175 or something like that. Motherfuckers are big motherfuckers. Okay, that's why Canelo know he could go all the way up to lightweight because he probably 180 now. You know what I'm saying? Walk around. So you gotta understand that. Like Troy Killer Entertainment, he was fighting at welterweight, super welterweight, and he was again 173, 172, walk around. So what you do when you're losing weight is you lose most of your water mass coming down to the day of the weigh-in. All right, you sweat off most of your water mass, but you may take a week to get it off. But you don't train losing weight all the time. That's fucking stupid. You gradually lose off the weight. Probably the week of the fight, you lose off your weight, and then that's it. You're still eating, you're still doing things, but because you have to train, you gotta eat. But you're losing the mass, and it's kind of purifying because you're not really putting in a whole set of stuff in your body. Hey man, talking about that, I gotta drink some water. And the ironic thing is, if you eat less and you drink a lot more water, you actually purify your body. Actually functions better. Anyhow, I get my ass out of here. So I'll be seeing you guys later. I'm still dehydrated. I can tell by my feet and my hands and my mouth. My hands are still dry. I got some oil on them now, so that's good. Yeah, but it's still dry. See, I sell in the hot sun water, and that shit dries you the fuck out. And you get dried up, So I have to constantly hydrate, otherwise I'll get fucking constipated, stomach problems, and all kinds of shit can go from there. I can get prostate problems, all kinds of shit can happen. So I have to take all kinds of precautions to make sure I'm hydrated. Cheers. Thank you. Shout out to you, brother. I also put up a poll, so you guys can check out the poll. It's the same Canelo shit. Thank you for the like as well. It's the same Canelo shit. Who you want him to face next? People who want him to face Kovalev. People who want him to face Triple G. Choose Triple G. The people who want him to face Demetrius Andrade, choose. I think I have two more options. I think I got Callum Smith, and I got WBO super middleweight champion, who's Billy Joe Saunders. I think I have those guys. Unfortunately, I can't put Jamel Charlo inside of there, but it's least likely that he would face Jamel Charlo because he's not on the zone or on a place that they actually have been doing business with a lot. Even though, Andy Ruiz, who's from PBC, he faced Anthony Joshua. So the rematch should be interesting. I do not know where the rematch Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz will be, but that'll be an interesting rematch as well. Hope everybody stays safe, and stay good. If you do see from me again today, that's great. Let other people know about this channel. And don't forget, you can subscribe, yes. You can like, yes. But you can also donate to my fucking channel. Sorry about the F-bombs. I've been cussing like a motherfucker. I'm trying to stop. I am a Christian, so I should not be cursing. I don't like cursing, but I keep on cursing these days. I think it's a side effect they were telling me of my mom's death.
and I'm trying to process it some way, somehow, and I think that's what's going on with me. But I'm trying to not. I'm trying to care because I feel sometimes like I just don't give a fuck, and that's not good. So we're just trying to rope it back in and get ourselves back in order. Okay. All right, my people. You have a great day. I'm out of here. Hopefully we can talk some more boxing tonight, or I can be on some boxing talk. I like boxing, man. I love boxing. You see, I'm just talking boxing all the time. I'm going back and train a little bit, do some more ab work and stuff tonight, and I'll catch you guys later.